Assalamu alaikum. I'm Aksa Tariq, the editorial head at CXO Media. And on behalf of the editorial and conferences team, I'd like to welcome all of you to another session of CyberSectober 2023. This is a month-long engagement that we have been hosting with multiple CIOs, CISOs, IT, IS leaders. And today's session is particularly important and close to my heart also because I'm an educationist. Well, by education, actually, I've studied education leadership management. So it's very important for me to also understand and learn about how the education system is really shaping up, as we talk about building Pakistan's cyber defense. So this session of CyberSectober will be focusing on the future of risk, policy, education, and industry building Pakistan's cyber defense. In the ever-evolving domain of cybersecurity, where threats are dynamic and national defense priorities continually shift, we've had the honor of hosting some of our speakers here today earlier on as well. And we're excited to see and uncover, some key insights on how the industry has evolved, what the academia is doing. Back, I think even 5 years ago, there weren't as many programs on cybersecurity, but we are seeing that has become a growing trend with more and more students also getting interested in this particular area. So welcome to today's session dedicated to exploring the dynamic landscape of cybersecurity education with our esteemed universities. I'd like to quickly, just to introduce my guests and hand it over to them to talk a little bit about their work before we dive into the questions. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Zunaira Jalil, the Chair, Department of Cybersecurity, Faculty of Computing and Artificial Intelligence at Air University, Islamabad. We have Dr. Kaukab Zaveri. He's the chairperson at Lahore Garrison University and also the department head for criminology and forensic sciences. We have Dr. Jawad Shamsi, professor of computer science and also the dean of faculty of computing and the director for Center for Research and Artificial Intelligence Systems. Last but not the least, we have Gibran Jamshad. He is the country principal officer and education lead at Microsoft Pakistan. And I think he also holds some international positions. So we're going to hear more about his work, which is going cross-border shortly after. So if we can start off with a brief introduction, about how your educational institution and your own goals are aligning with the cybersecurity curriculum, looking at, the evolving landscape of cyber threats and national defense priorities. So Dr. Zunaira or Dr. Kaukab, we can start with one of you and we will take a round then.
Okay, from the beginning, it was our perspective that we need more hands-on training in cybersecurity. We are focused on offensive security, and this is the need of the country. We are in our department. I believe that offensive security and incident response is a function of social sciences because you are responding a crime as per the law. So we have taken this faculty under the social sciences and we are preparing cyber crime investigators. Now, to be a cyber crime investigator, you need a lot of things. You should know programming languages. You should know the incident response. You should know the psychology of the criminals. You should know the related laws. You should know how to interview the suspects or how to interview and narrow down your hypothesis to a particular point. And you should know the malware and the malware analysis and all these things. So of course, a part of incident response is digital forensics. So there are various fields of digital forensics which we teach in our organization. So these are all emerging technologies, and we try to teach our students with the updated softwares, and we are working hard. Our first batch is already out, and they are employed in certain organizations. Some of them have gone to idare jo hote hain, certain agencies. So that's what we are working. We have taken a different side of cybersecurity, which is post-incident. Now, there are a lot of universities which are doing a great job. I should mention the Air University and all. They have taken initiative and they are doing a great job. But and other universities, most of them focus on the pre-incidents, developing compliance and configuring and the operation leading to cyber preventive, taking a preventive approach towards the attack. And yes, they are companies which are offering certain trainings in pen testing and so on. So I think we are trying to get where we should be. There's a huge demand for cybercrime investigators in the country. FIA has about 800 officers in the National Cybercrime Response Center. But many of them are not aware with the technical details of investigating the cybercrime. So this is our approach, what we have adopted in our university.
Thank you. Dr. Zanera, over to you.
Okay, Aksa, first of all, thank you for organizing this session. I was looking forward to have such session where we can talk to each other and then communicate that how we are proceeding in our curriculum of cybersecurity, which we developed in 2018. So at Air University, we started in 2018. Now, alhamdulillah, 2 batches have already graduated. For our undergrad and master students are also coming out and performing in different roles in Pakistan at different organizations. So it's good. And it's good that all of the graduates who are going out of universities are immediately getting absorbed, and there are lots of opportunities out open there for them. It's good. But at the same time, I want to mention that the time when we developed curriculum for cybersecurity in 2018, we have kept on revising it according to the latest requirements. Like recently, I would not say it recently, it's been 1 year when ChatGPT and generative AI platforms came up. And then at the same time, there came an era, now everybody's talking about adversarial AI and how generative AI is multiplying the effect of adversarial AI. So things are coming up, and now since malwares are getting generated by machines, and at the same time the defensive approaches, tools, and techniques which we need to incorporate to defend are also getting evolved at a very rapid pace. So keeping all these things in mind, we have recently revised our curriculum of BS of cybersecurity, and the same thing we are doing with master's curriculum as well. And recently we started master's in digital forensics program, and there are many domains still untouched in cybersecurity where we need to work collectively. As Sir Kokab when mentioning that in digital forensic, there is a huge need of, or there is a skill shortage for digital forensic investigators. And at the same time, cybersecurity की हम remaining domains भी देखें तो SOC में, malware analysis में, reverse engineering में, आपकी auditing and compliance में, security management में. So there is still a lot of room for improvement. And we keep on hearing good news like PK cert is functional, और बड़ा actively उन्होंने cert rules develop किए हैं और आगे भी further इस पे काम हो रहा है. And a good thing I want to mention that a couple of days ago, it is very, I'm very happy to see that ED HEC Dr. Ziaul Qayyum recently joined office, and he called all the academicians to suggest that how we can improve how can we fill the industry academia gap, and also how we can improve the existing curriculum which we are already following at universities. And also he was very particular about the universities which are not in the few major cities of Pakistan, but in the other cities where they have less access to technology, and internet connectivity issues are also out there. So it's good that we are thinking about solving the root cause of the problem. और cybersecurity curriculum में improvement आ रही है, not very hopeful कि we will keep improving it further. और जैसे जैसे requirements आती है, जिस तरह अभी हमने देखा कि जो जनरेटिव एआई और आपके लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल्स में जैसे इस तरफ डेवलपमेंट होना स्टार्ट हुई, देयर आर मोर फ्रीक्वेंटली आई सी hands on workshops, seminars getting conducted very frequently now. Last few years ago, like before COVID time, this was not happening at this pace, at the pace जो इस वक्त फॉलो हो रही है. तो that's my stance about it.
Thank you very much. So Dr. Jawad, we'll hand it over to you before I ask Gibran Sahab the next question for the industry side of things.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for arranging this session. So my input is this, that first I would like to brief you about what we at FAST are doing. We know that there's a huge gap between industry and academia, and there are emerging requirements of cybersecurity professionals. There are emerging requirements of industry, and we have different focus groups at FAST, working in different research directions. So ranging from malware analysis on IoTs and deep fakes and things like penetration testing. These are all established areas and which need focused in the domain of cybersecurity. So we have established bachelor's and master's program in the specialized field, and we also offer PhD degrees. So we are totally aware of the emerging needs, and what we are focusing on is to how we can prepare our young graduates to fill this gap for, both for the local as well as for the international market. So we have we run different workshops in which we try to focus on hands-on experience. We have strong theoretical aspects in which we try to cover the contents which can give them foundations, as well as then we have strong alliance with industry, through which different workshops as well as industry-based trainings are being offered in this domain. But since this is an emerging area, a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done at the government level, as well as at the industry level, as well as at the education level. So it's so in order for all of us to answer this emerging threat of cybersecurity, it is very important that all these three stakeholders work together to solve this established threat. So I would speak more about it in the second round when
absolutely we'll take a deeper dive into that. But as you rightly pointed out, the industry academia divide. I always joke about it that when I started working in the industry, that's when usse pehle bhi I think ye conversation chal rahi thi, and I don't think it's one to really go away. But because we have someone from the industry sitting here who's closely working in the education sector. So Gibran Sahab, I'd like your input, especially because also Dr. Zunaira talked about generative AI. They talked about tools which are very important in terms of what we are looking at giving to these students who are students of today are looking at more and more of these cybersecurity, generative AI. These kinds of tools are readily available. How does that, of course, change when we're looking at, developing an ecosystem where industry and academia have so much more to sort of take on in their roles?
Thank you first and foremost. Thank you for having me around, and I think this is a very learned and august forum. मेरी understanding जो है cyber security को लेके, probably as a student, looking at this topic is kind of twofold, right? One aspect is कि जी जो cyber security का spectrum है, I think उसको understand करना भी ज़रूरी है. You talk about in the personal space, वहाँ पे cyber attacks और cyber security के जो pertinent issues हैं, वो हमारी daily life से हम पढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं. You talk about कि जी किसी के मोबाइल फ़ोन में डेटा है, वो लीक हो गया, किसी को एक fraudulent मैसेज आया और उसने उस पर क्लिक कर दिया, उसके बैंक अकाउंट से पैसे निकल गए, किसी के साथ सोशल इंजीनियरिंग हुई या कोई मैलवेयर लैंड किया और उसमें आपकी एक डेली लाइफ फाइनेंशियली या इमोशनली डिस्टर्ब हो रही है. अगर आप आज से 5 साल पहले देखें, क्या ऐसा था? शायद ऐसा नहीं था. आज से 10 साल पहले देखें तो बिल्कुल नहीं था. तो पिछले 10-1 साल में जो साइबर सिक्योरिटी का जो लैंडस्केप है, दैट इज इवॉल्व वेरी डिफरेंटली. उसकी दूसरी एग्जांपल कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड की है। कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में आज से 10 साल पहले आईटी का क्या टास्क था? आईटी का टास्क था कि जो आपका डेटा सेंटर है आपने उसको प्रोटेक्ट करना है, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज हैपनिंग विद इन योर डेटा सेंटर. Today, when you talk about any organization, half of the action is probably happening within the data center, and other half is happening on the cloud services. लोग डेटा सेंटर से सर्विसेज इस्तेमाल ही नहीं कर रहे, लोग तो डायरेक्टली क्लाउड से कंपनी ने सर्विसेज प्रोविजन की हुई है और उनको यूज कर रहे हैं. And the cybersecurity landscape has changed dramatically, and this is where the cyber attacks have increased. Identity पे, devices पे, data पे, endpoints पे, that is searched only. फिर आप गवर्नमेंट्स के एलिमेंट पे आ जाएं, पब्लिक सेफ्टी, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी इज अ थर्ड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पिलर. कि आज से 10 साल पहले फिफ्थ जनरेशनल वॉरफेयर, सिक्स जनरेशनल वॉरफेयर हमने कभी पढ़ा था, सुना था, डिस्कशंस में नहीं था. आज जो है यू वुड रियली फाइंड कि जी इट्स अ स्टेट एस्पियोनेज अगेंस्ट अनदर स्टेट, और साइबर अटैक्स लैंड हो रहे हैं और पूरी दुनिया का आपके सामने एक लैंडस्केप है. So the landscape is evolving and it will continue to grow. मैं एक रिपोर्ट पढ़ रहा था जिसमें था कि जी जो साइबर अटैक्स आज हैं उनकी जो टोटल कॉस्ट आ रही है वो आई थिंक $2.5 ट्रिलियन है, $2.5 ट्रिलियन अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. एंड व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट नेक्स्ट 2 years, 2025 में it will multiply by 4 times and it will grow more than $10 trillion. So this is a big industry. Obviously, where things like AI and cloud and productivity apps like Zoom and Teams of the world, they are making you more and more productive. But on the other hand, productivity comes at a cost of security. पहली चीज तो ये है. दूसरा जो मैं है, and I'll just take one more minute, very pertinent to the role of academia, right? जिन मीटिंग्स का जिक्र हुआ, आई एम ऑल्सो फॉलोइंग ऑल दीज न्यूज़, कुछ मीटिंग्स में हम पार्ट भी होते हैं. Government really wants to drive the vision of knowledge-driven economy because पाकिस्तान में गवर्नमेंट रियलाइज करती है कि यहाँ पे इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन करना फॉरेन से या पैसे कमाना, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट लाना इतना आसान नहीं है जितना कि है आपके पास एक मैन पावर है, यूथ पल्स है. अगर उसको सही तरीके से इस्तेमाल किया जाए और आपके पास एक ट्रेन स्किल्ड वर्कफोर्स हो, तो प्रॉब्ली पाकिस्तान के बहुत सारे इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज जो हैं वो रिजॉल्व हो सकते हैं. So creating market ready and certified students would also address your economic issues as well. और उसमें क्या पोटेंशियल है? पोटेंशियल ये है कि अगर आप यूएस जैसी मार्केट को देखें, which is the hub of IT innovation, वहाँ पे इस वक्त, आंसर करेक्ट मी और मैडम इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, 8 मिलियन साइबर सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, 1 मिलियन इन द मार्केट लाइक यूएस. And there are 700,000 jobs which are open to be filled. So even US जैसी जगह में इतनी acute skills shortage है, then you just imagine what is happening in the rest of the world. So it's a green field where the talent is needed. Now tangibly what we can do, मैं इसमें सिर्फ एक बात करूँगा. We have a program called Microsoft Learn, और उसमें एक further subcontinent component है Learn for Educators. That is available in partnership with HEC free of cost to all the universities. इस पे पहले भी बात हुई है. In first week of December, we are again doing a refresher for that. And it includes all the trainings, all the content, all the curriculum. It could be used by faculty, it could be used by students. We do master trainings and all these kind of things. And we also share the same vision that we need market-ready students. It would help us to defend ourselves, and also it would help us to grow economically. With this, I'll pause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, that brings me to our next question on partnerships and collaboration, because as each of you have mentioned in your opening comments also that, collaboration or working with multiple sort of, whether it comes to academic institutions, it comes to government bodies, and then it comes to, the industry academia divide or play. How are you looking at enhancing cybersecurity education and research capabilities? Because as we understand correctly, we don't just want students to be clear on, cybersecurity concepts, but also to develop practical skills which are, nowadays, I think education is more complex because students they first hear about things online and then in the classroom. So I think that pace has to sort of match up in some capacity. So if we can have, Dr. Kokab start off with this.
Okay, we have MOUs signed with various organizations like Punjab Police and other government agencies, which I cannot name. So our students go there for internship. They work there for a month or two. Actually, at least for 45 days. They go to FIA, they go to Punjab Police and other agencies which are working in Punjab. And they feel the actual investigation. They pen test for them in the actual environment, and they give them report vulnerability analysis. They do the vulnerability analysis and so on. So we are working to provide a hands-on experience to our students. Apart from that, I think we are the only university which is actually doing active investigations. Like, we are actually investigating for our clients the actual cyber attacks, cyber crimes, cyber attacks for banks, for, I will not name them, but for banks, for various government agencies and so on. And the good students work with us to feel. I'm also part of Prime Minister Inquiry Commission. So at times we take our students and we use them in investigation. Actually, you see this technology, for example, digital forensic is not limited to cyber crimes only. Today, if you are investigating corruption or white collar crimes, you will need anti-money laundering incidences, you will need a digital forensic expert with you, because the evidence is no more in the document. You need digital evidence to create to investigate white collar crimes also. So in future, the post incident investigation will need more and more trained workforce to handle these type of incidents. So that's what we do. We have our labs, we have our trainings, we give our certifications. We have our certifications in hacking, white hat hacker, certified white hat hacker. We have certified computer forensic analyst, and we have a certified white collar crime investigator. In which we teach, even in our BS in white collar crime investigation degree program. We teach digital forensics, and we have licensed tools. We have a good amount of licensed tools available for them to practice the actual environment.
I just want to mention that when we talk about industry academia gap and we talk about market readiness for graduates when they are coming entering in the industry, we should think about the models which other countries have adopted. If I have a few friends serving in different universities internationally, when I talk to them that how those universities have filled this gap between industry and academia in our computing domain. So they most of them mentioned that in their undergrad program, it has been mandatory for a certain number of credit hours to be spent in industry. Like every graduate before graduating, spend maximum up to 30 credit hours. I have heard that out of 130, they are spending 30 credit hours in industry. And now HEC, in a recent undergraduate policy, they have made it mandatory for every undergrad student to do internship for 6 to 8 weeks in the industry to complete their degree. So this is a good step in this direction. In Air University, how we have filled this gap so far is we have totally changed our final year project model. We are getting project ideas from industries, and we are asking industry or different cybersecurity companies to provide us industry mentors who will be mentoring students on those projects. So for 1.5 years, we ask them to mentor those students. We have academic supervisors from universities. We have industry mentors from industry, and they collectively guide students in 6th, 7th, and 8th semester. And also this includes 6 to 8 weeks internship, which they are doing with them. So when a graduate before graduating is spending 6 to 8 weeks in industry in real environment, working on his or her project, so they get the idea. And when they will be continuing with the project or joining that organization later on, it will be easier for them to, and that's how we are filling this gap. Besides this, what we are doing is we have invited a number of industry professionals to conduct different workshops and sessions and guest talks. So this has become our regular practice now. So and I also invite through this forum, I also invite all the professionals from cybersecurity industries, all the major or even the companies who have just started their businesses in cybersecurity products and development and services. They should visit us, and they should interact with our students, and they should guide them that how they are going to pursue in the future. So we have support from our university, we have support from HEC. So this is how we can collectively work.
Excellent. And Javata, when you ask this, I'd also like you to add on, any engagements, particularly with the industry, as you earlier on talked about, but also adding on the research element, right? Because your institution also focuses heavily on research, and Dr. Zanera also talked about it in her first comment. So if you could add on that as well.
Yes. So talking about the research, one major challenge which we face is that the research which we do is perhaps more applicable to the industry outside Pakistan and not inside Pakistan. So in order for us to align our research with the local industrial needs, there is a more strategical shift is needed perhaps, and that's because there are challenges in adaptation of different so for example, if you want to do a cutting edge research, there are topics related to 5G and 6G security, and in the country we are still on the 4G platform. So these are the challenges which exist on the other side, but to locally cater the challenges, we are actually making partnership with local users. So for example, in one of the HEC project, we are developing a vigilance-based system, which with a local police. So that is more reactive to the local needs. But to answer specifically your question, I think as I mentioned earlier, there are different stakeholders of this cycle. There are three important components, and I guess all three of them have to work together. It's a common problem which exists. We talked about the industry academia gap a lot, and the gap exists because it has been allowed to exist. And for that gap to be fulfilled or bridged, all of us have to work together. This is my point here.
Thank you. And Jibran Sahab, moving towards your domain, are there collaborations or exchange programs? You talked about it towards the end, of course, but I'd like you to elaborate a little bit on, working with international institutions or bringing those technologies and introducing them to our market is crucial at the moment, right? Microsoft has been doing this work for a long time, but now, more and more as the industry sort of broadens. So what are the perspectives in bringing that, in shaping the future of cyber defense in Pakistan?
Asha, when you particularly talk about academia, right, and in the context of, I'll hold my thoughts only in the context of academia. See, there are two things, right? One is since post-COVID, what we did was a big game changer. There was a lot of content, trainings and courses and all these kind of things, which used to come at a certain fee, or there was a certain licensing royalty to it, right? And then we finished that particular program. It was sunset. It used to call Imagine Academy. Some universities were paying and buying the courses and things, Microsoft curriculum, and they were teaching it. We made it sort of open source, right? And as I said earlier, like a broken record, Microsoft Learn, Learn, is a gold mine of resources, because within Microsoft today, uh, we are very rich and very heavy on learning, right? There's a learning culture. You have to do your trainings and all these things. That's how you can face your customers in the market. And if I have to get myself trained or reskilled or something like this, I will also go to the same portal, Microsoft Learn, where I'm pointing out to anybody. So it's the same resource which I'm using it for myself as well. So it has to be something authentic and giving the right content. And over there, we have divided skill set into 3 different layers, right? Not everyone can just go and get hold of this Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect exam, which is the final exam. So we really start from the fundamental level. There's a certification and a training program which is very sort of specifically designed to cater the students for universities, and that is security fundamentals. And the understanding is that you have the basic knowledge of computer science, and then you want to learn about cybersecurity. This is a program which has been introduced. As Dr. Saib already said, कि अब इस पे काम हो रहा है, what should read the news. If this kind of a training content coming in from a company like Microsoft or any other leading security company should be incorporated into the course and should be taught within the university level, I think that will be very helpful. Because ये उस level पे design किया गया है कि ये एक university का बच्चा करेगा, पहली चीज. And when these people, they go to market or the professional world and they get hands-on exposure to the technology, तो फिर associate level का program design किया गया है. And then on the last layer, there's a program on the expert layer, right? तो ये एक पूरा career roadmap दिया गया है cyber security के लिए. Training का content, program, universities को access, वो भी already provided है. We also invest in certain boot camps and train the trainers, और वो HEC के through हमारी partnership है. And I would say कि जो HEC के focal persons हैं universities में, उनको HEC head office की तरफ से regularly emails आ रही होती हैं, because it's a commitment for us that all these technologies and tools which are used, we bring people and we keep on training them in different boot camps. ये online भी हो रहे होते हैं, universities में भी हो रहे होते हैं, HEC के regional centers में भी हो रहे होते हैं. We are already visiting campuses. If there's a very specific requirement, we can go, we can deliver master classes to it as well. I think there's a lot which could be offered. अब सिर्फ ये देखना है कि वो consume किस तरह से हो रहा है. And the opportunity, very last point, जो opportunity है, when you have somebody who is ready for the market, तो Microsoft का एक बहुत बड़ा partner ecosystem है which is ready. And there are certain areas, I will not specifically name any company, पर पाकिस्तानी कंपनियां हैं, for example, in the space of ERPs. Today, they have got hundreds and thousands of professionals trained in that category. They are providing international services. तो अगर आप एक थ्रूपुट उनको प्रोवाइड करेंगे साइबर सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स की भी, तो यहाँ की कंपनीज उन स्टूडेंट्स को लेके जाके इंटरनेशनल मार्केट से they can do a lot of business. That's another thought. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I think I would like to say if there are any questions or direct sort of, add-ons that you'd like to make to this, we're open to taking that. Or if not, we'll move on.
Okay, Gibran Sahab, it's a pleasure to see you after a long time. So I want to invite you to visit Air University, and the initiatives of Microsoft in domains of cybersecurity is also new for me. So if you can visit us and if you can share some resources available in cybersecurity, or I want you to interact with our faculty and students and let us know more about it, that how we can get benefit from the already provided resources by Microsoft.
Sure, madam, this is noted, and it will be a pleasure to visit your university and connect with faculty. I'll follow up on this one. Thank you.
Okay. So we will now delve into, the side of policy advocacy. In what ways do you think are educational institutes, influencing or contributing to the development of national cybersecurity policies and strategies? Pakistan saw its first cybersecurity policy in 2021, and we've seen our data and privacy bill coming out in 2023. So our institutions are not just, producers of talent, but they're also contributors to the national discourse on cybersecurity. What has been the role of academia and industry in that domain? So Dr. Sunera, we can start with you and then take a round.
Okay. At the beginning of this year, we conducted a 3-day extensive training about cybersecurity awareness, and we invited the responsible government officials from almost all ministries of Pakistan. So it was a gathering of around 180 participants, and we provided them hands-on training and awareness session. So it included a number of activities, and Alhamdulillah, after that training, we have seen a lot of improvement and a lot of consciousness about how we should be aware about cybersecurity, and the state is continuously improving. So this is good thing. And secondly, cybersecurity policy, data protection bill, and AI policy, cloud policy, and now we are seeing that we are going in the right direction, and there is awareness, there is consciousness, and now people have started valuing their data, and they are aware about what kind of, like, if I talk in general, like previously people were not very much aware about privacy, and even if they are using social media, what content they can share and what they cannot share, they should not share. So now people are becoming more aware. And also I will appreciate the role of FIA in this, because they have also been working rigorously in this domain, and they have also contributed to this cause of raising awareness. So they published a report, and continuously they publish awareness. And at the same time, I have seen our banking sector taking cybersecurity seriously as well. I have seen a number of awareness campaigns launched by different banks. So that's a good thing about happening around. And definitely, when people are more aware, so they will be the people on responsible positions are more conscious and more aware, so things will improve. So that's my stance.
Thank you. And Dr. Gawker, over to you.
If you may allow, I would respectfully disagree to some extent with Dr. Zunera, because my experience is that these government organizations are using pirated software. There goes the cybersecurity. The common user is completely unaware of the basic concept of cybersecurity. Our cybersecurity national policy has failed because it has never been implemented. Where is the government launching the big cybersecurity awareness campaigns? Running advertisement is not sufficient. I mean, we are a country of 220 million people. And being a Turkish national, I have seen them work with several organizations there. I have seen them developing their cybersecurity and the digital forensic and all these the workforce. A common, for example, an organization like FBR was using pirated Hyper-V. For example, certain banks, national level banks, big banks, which I visited and investigated, were using pirated software. Main banks, you know. So talking about the losses, you know, we in Pakistan, there are certain losses which has no value. You know, you cannot evaluate the losses. You know, for example, if something happens and it damages your reputation, imagine one of the top banks in Pakistan, if it stop operation for a day, what can happen? Or we have the case of Estonia, you know, the first cyber attack, warfare attack. For example, if the stock exchange, Karachi Stock Exchange, closes down for an hour, तो फिर क्या होगा? So, we have to open our eyes. We have to understand we are not doing sufficient. We are not doing sufficient. We have trained in last year hundreds of people for awareness. But is it sufficient? We are a country of 220 million people. What about the consumers? What about the, you know, the cyber, the attackers? They target, the criminals, they target the most vulnerable, the women and the old people. तो पता है, they are the most attractive target for them, क्योंकि उनको इतना पता नहीं होता, उनको बहुत आसानी से आप हैक कर सकते हैं. तो हाउस वाइफ्स, तो वो किस तरह से इनके नंबर्स लीक होते हैं? How do they get all these numbers of the bank accounts of where is State Bank of Pakistan? Why don't in Turkey banks are responsible if there's a loss because of the security leak? Where is the State Bank of Pakistan implementing these things? So we need to sit down, of course, educational institutions can play a big role in in designing and launching the cyber security awareness campaign. We have to go to the masses. When you invite a government officer, the top officers come. Now we don't need to. We need to go to the grassroots and give them I was the first one in Turkey to organize a training on behalf of Australian Federal Police and invited FIA for digital forensic training, and people from accounts department were there. And I'm not saying FIA is not doing great job. I know they have 30,000 pending cases. I know that they are very active in solving Facebook cases. I know this thing. But a lot has to be done, in developing cyber security, especially blue team operation. Blue team operation is not SOC only. Our banks are only focusing on SOC level 1, level 2, level 3, and all the graduates, they are going because everybody needs, because there's a huge demand. We need to start short courses. We have to start specialized courses. Moreover, the new policy of HEC is an hindrance. 1 year, you have to, if they are doing a cyber security degree, why do you have to read Iqbaliyat on an arts, or chemistry for everyday life? For example, such type of the whole world is going towards specialization. I mean, we have to be very focused if we want to develop. We have to have specialized programs. We have to have specialized certification. And this cannot be done without the help of the researchers, which academia can provide. So the government has to come with academia and industry to develop a comprehensive and a mass and a campaign of cyber awareness, which can train masses.
Thank you, Dr. Kakar. We did stay away from, I think, a little bit of the topic that we were trying to get insights on. So, Dr. Jawad, if you'd like to continue on, the role here that we the academia is really playing in terms of also the policy making, because that's a big part of really creating that influence.
Yes, I think. As I mentioned, that there are 3 stakeholders. So these 3 stakeholders should have, input in policy making. And I believe that is also needs to be established and strengthened. There are industry professionals and academic professionals in policy making, but their role is perhaps not very vigilant, and this needs to be strengthened while government is drafting policies. And I would like to take this opportunity to make a further step that policy making is just a beginning. The next step is to enforcing this policy, and I think that is also needs to be looked upon very urgently, because it's an emerging threat, and it's kind of an area in which we all need like self-sufficiency. I mean, we cannot rely on external or foreign resources. So I think that is needed to be looked upon.
Thank you. And Gibran, so is there something that you'd like to add to the policy side? Because I know that you've been closely working with HEC and a lot of, governing authorities also. Is that something that's part of your domain also?
See, I can just give a couple of comments on the policy side of things. Policies जो हैं वो they actually translate your vision, right? When you make a policy, it actually translates the vision. Where do you want to see in next 5 years or 10 years down the road? आप कहाँ देखते हैं अपने मुल्क को अपने आप को, ठीक है? This is the one thing. And this is just checklist. I would not comment on any policy. But the second thing which is very important is that today, when you're making a policy in cybersecurity, उसको आपको एक particular lens से देखना है. It is also very, very closely correlated with the cloud first policy, the AI policy, the data privacy policy. ये सारी चीजें जो हैं उसका पार्ट एंड पार्सल हैं. सो पॉलिसी को आई थिंक देखना और एक अगले 10 साल के लैंडस्केप से 20 साल के लैंडस्केप से देखना जरूरी है. एंड वी ऑल्सो नीड टू सी कि उस पॉलिसी का जो इम्पैक्ट है, क्या वो पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है या वो नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है. Because we have to make sure that if there is a policy coming out, it has to create a very positive impact. One feedback which I give to all the people all the time, at times we put in controls कि जी आप ये करेंगे, then probably you are breaching this law and you will be held accountable and all these things. उससे पहले आई थिंक एक स्टेप पे आ जाते हैं कि जब एक बच्चा स्कूल में जाता है, डिजिटल लिटरेसी इज समथिंग अ बेसिक स्किल इन 21st सेंचुरी. तो क्या आप स्कूल में वो नॉलेज इम्पार्ट उसको कर रहे हैं, उसको पढ़ा रहे हैं कि उसने एक साइबर वर्ल्ड में, एक डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में किस तरह से ऑपरेट करना है, हाउ ही और शी शुड बी अ बेटर सिटीजन. डिजिटल सिटीजनशिप के बारे में बात हो रही है. अपने आप को, अपनी फैमिली को किस तरह से प्रोटेक्ट करना है, किस तरह से अपनी इंफॉर्मेशन को सिक्योर करना है और किस तरह से कम्युनिटी में फॉर द गुड कंट्रीब्यूट करना है. आई थिंक उन चीज़ों पे भी काम करना प्रोएक्टिवली अवेयरनेस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ज़रूरी है. और ना सिर्फ यूनिवर्सिटीज में बल्कि स्कूल लेवल से वो चीज़ स्टार्ट होनी चाहिए. जब आप उसको पढ़ा देंगे, कर देंगे, उसके बाद अगर वो कुछ गलत काम करता है तो आई थिंक फिर कंट्रोल्स भी काम में आने चाहिए, बिल्कुल होने चाहिए. द एग्जाम्पल इज वेरी सिंपल. Imagine you don't know how to drive and you buy a car and you start driving, right? So when you get a connected mobile phone or a laptop with the internet and you don't have any knowledge around that, कि आपने किस तरह से इसको ऑपरेट करना है डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में, साइबर फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड में किस तरह से ऑपरेट करना है, then I think the challenges start from there. So a lot of work needs to happen on the grassroots level, right from the school, right from the community mobilization. This is my thought.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that side of, your side of, the perspective that we're trying to build here. I would like to, lastly sort of talk about the, how we're evaluating the impact. How do you measure the success and impact of your cybersecurity education programs, especially in terms of, the graduates' contribution to the industry and the national cyber defense efforts? We talked a little bit about, introducing or integrating cutting edge technologies or industry best practices and, the work that you're doing in really bringing the academia in touch with what's happening in the industry. But beyond the curriculum, what is the impact measurement and how does Pakistan fare on that right now?
Okay. First of all, Sir Cocker didn't agree with me. I respect his opinion, but I think we should look at the positive side. Things are improving. Definitely, there is a lot of room for improvement, and we need to put more rigorous efforts to improve cybersecurity posture overall. But something is better than nothing. So I'm hopeful that we need to enhance our pace of work, but definitely it is going to bring improvement. And about your question, Aksa, we are putting our efforts, and although there is no predefined criteria which we have developed that how we are going to evaluate that the efforts we have done, how much fruits they are bringing, and how we can. But overall, if we look at the global cybersecurity index of Pakistan, the image of Pakistan, the ranking of Pakistan is continuously improving. It's like we moved from 94 to 79, and now you see we have our own national cert, and sectoral certs are also on way. And I have recently heard about educational cert. So things are coming up, and if you talk about capacity building, so we already have scored 17 marks out of 20 in that domain. And now I see more and more universities offering cybersecurity educational programs. And different universities who are new in starting these programs approach me and ask me that how we have developed, what kind of tools we require to set up a lab, what should be the, and at the same time, we are continuously developing our own labs. When we talk about conducting cybersecurity labs like reverse engineering, malware analysis, and digital forensics labs. So these labs require a specialized setup to perform different exercises. So we already have conducted, and we are continuously improving our own conduct of labs. And in parallel, there is a project going on sponsored by Erasmus Plus. And that project is particularly about cybersecurity education, that how courses should be developed, how labs should be conducted, and how human factors in cybersecurity are gaining importance. Like even if we spend a lot of efforts and budget on cybersecurity solutions to improve our security, even if a small human mistake or error can cause a big loss. So looking at the human factor is also important. So we are conducting different events and workshops and lectures as a part of that project as well. And there are other universities also involved with this. So I think we are improving, but so far we have not developed a criteria. When we talk about NICE, which is a NICE framework or National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, a US-based framework for cybersecurity workforce development, we were discussing day before yesterday that we should have a similar kind of framework over here in Pakistan, so that we can study and anticipate the kind and type of workforce we require over here, instead of just imparting cybersecurity education and then deciding that where they are going to fit in. We should develop our workforce in a way that is actually what actually it is required. So that's my stance about it.
Thank you. Dr. Kakab, over to you.
Okay, I completely agree with Dr. Zanera in this case. Of course, the things are moving, and we are progressing slowly, but I hope we will achieve our goals. As far as our degree programs or cybersecurity education programs are concerned, I think we were the first one to establish Digital Forensic Research and Service Center. We started our degree program, Digital Forensic, BS in Digital Forensic Cybersecurity, and BS in White Collar Crime Investigation, these two programs. And now we are bringing, slowly we have a plan where we will take it up to. And now we are bringing BS in Criminology, and we are integrating. You see, I take incident response a part of cybersecurity. I take digital forensic as a part of cybersecurity, but I do not limit them to cyber crimes only. I believe that, for example, in one of the presentations, I mentioned that your CISO should have a credit check. Being a white collar crime investigator, every employee who is involved in cybersecurity should have a special check on it, because in case of an APT attack, they look at the weaknesses of your cybersecurity team, and they try to bring them to your side. So we are trying to bring different theories on the table, and we are trying to implement it. I believe that one day we will be able to. But my suggestion is that all the universities, especially the leaders like FAST and AI University, should also collaborate, and we should have sessions together where we can discuss and share our experiences and improve, because the cake is too big. We are talking about a country of 220 million people. For example, when I started giving trainings in Istanbul in 2008, they had a cyber crime investigation department in all over Turkey, 80 provinces of 100 investigators. By the year 2012, they had 4,000 investigators. With all, they had a separate division of, it was not under Turkish National Police, and it was a separate division. So we can sit down and we can talk and we can suggest and we can interact with the government, and we can come up with suggestions for our country, and see. And we are on 79 position, like Dr. Sahib has mentioned. Sri Lanka is ahead of us in cybersecurity. Turkey is ahead of us. I don't know. India is in top 10, and so on. So we are very much behind, and we have to act fast. We have to develop specialized certifications, hands-on experiences. We have to create soldiers, not journalists. I mean, we have to have a lot of hands-on expertise available, technical expertise available to face the cybersecurity. We are an atomic country. We are among the few countries in the world, but our cybersecurity is very weak. So I think one of the things we can do, I mean, apart from your question, you have asked, one of the things we can do is to create a liaison among all our institutions, and see and develop a think tank which can advise the government, and maybe with some industry experts also in it.
Absolutely. And I think, usually my closing note is on collaboration, but I think I couldn't have summed it up better. Jawad Sahib, over to you.
Thank you. I think the question was that how do we measure our success, or how do we
The
measure
impact of, yeah.
the impact of our graduates? And the impact is measured through the user feedback, and in our case, the user is industry. So what we do is that we have constant collaboration with the industry. We have alumni feedback, the hiring feedback, that how do you find our graduates, what improvement would you like to suggest. We have industrial advisory board meetings. We constantly engage with the industry, that what improvements they would like to suggest. And specific to cybersecurity, I think since it's an emerging area, we are, as mentioned, we are ranked 79. So there are a lot of industries which needs to actually incorporate cybersecurity standards as well. So it's a collective effort which require awareness as well. There are a lot of industries and academicians and governments which are not even aware of the emerging cybersecurity threats. So specific to cybersecurity, I think we would be much better if we have more stronger collaboration and end users. So this is the gap which exists, I think, specifically. But our normal procedure for any graduate program is to collect feedback through recruitment drives, through alumni, through industrial advisory boards. There are different mediums for that. Yes.
Thank you very much. Gibran sir, we'll move towards you for a closing comment on the industry, academia, and we already got your comments on the policy side, but looking at the future of education, especially because in a global role, you're also looking at the kind of resources people are looking towards Pakistan for.
And I think this is a very important discussion जो अभी last हुआ है on the impact part, and I would just second Dr. Sunera very quickly. Because if you cannot measure it, you cannot control it, right? You cannot grow it. हर चीज को measure करना पड़ता है. कुछ आपके पास global indexes हैं. They are measuring you. For example, Dr. Sahib ने कहा कि we were on 94, now we are on 79, which is good. And one day we will be on 50 and top 10 and all of this, right? पर जो पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक फ्रेमवर्क की जरूरत है जो यहाँ पे बताया गया है, वो होना जरूरी है ताकि हम अपनी प्रोग्रेस को वैलिडेट कर सकें. Because at time, a lot of things are happening. We delivered workshops and lectures and we signed MOUs, but probably how it is transpiring into the results. कुछ दो चार चीजें जो मेरे सहन में हैं कि जी how many market ready certified students you have produced, कितनी jobs में आपने contribute किया है market के अंदर, how many startups have emerged when it comes to the landscape of cybersecurity, उन startups को funding कितनी receive हुई है, how many local businesses have sort of grown their cybersecurity divisions with local customers and international customers. ये वो सारे metrics हैं, and I'm sure there will be 10 other metrics as well. I think we need to put them together at one place. There should be a central body monitoring it across the country level. दूसरा फिर आपके पास चीजें आ जाती हैं कि जी थ्रेट लैंडस्केप के ऊपर, जिस तरह एक पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट मेजर होता है कि जी पहले 100 क्राइम होते थे, 100 गाड़ियां चोरी होती थी, अब अगर 50 गाड़ियां चोरी हुई हैं, इसका मतलब है कि हमने क्राइम को कंट्रोल किया है. सेम फिलोसफी गोज इन द साइबर सिक्योरिटी वर्ल्ड एज वेल. आपको देखना है कि आज आपका थ्रेट लैंडस्केप किधर है, और अगर आप कोई मेजर्स और कंट्रोल्स लेकर आते हैं तो उसके बाद एक साल पे आप कहाँ पर होते हैं. I think these are those kind of quantitative checks which needs to be in place, agreed upon, and I think organizations are needed to be audited and monitored very regularly on this one. And academia has a bigger role to play. I'm not saying industry is not playing the role, but I think all eyes are towards academia because वो जो सारा टैलेंट आना है वो यहीं से आना है. इंडस्ट्री में इस वक्त टैलेंट एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है to fill all the needs and requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If there's any closing comment, we'll take that now, or I'll conclude.
Good from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think today's discussion, has been a remarkable journey into, the heart of cybersecurity education, and also to understand strategies and initiatives that are really driving institutions towards excellence. We know for sure that, Pakistani resources ki bahut zyada global demand bhi hai on cybersecurity, which is, it's heartening to see, but it's also disheartening to lose at a time when, our economy is also at a critical juncture. But, in all of this, our discussion, we've also had, we've seen the commitment of our educational institutions to aligning their cybersecurity curriculum with the evolving threat landscape. This is something which is still unique to Pakistan. And I think if that becomes our strength, there's a lot more that can be done. So thank you to each of you, for your commitment to the skill development, to industry engagement, and impactful research and work that is being, evident in every aspect that we've shared today. So as we conclude, let's carry forward this spirit of collaboration and innovation. And together, I hope that we can ensure that, our educational institutions remain at, the forefront of quality education, producing leaders who will, help navigate the complexities of the digital future. You talked about digital citizenship, and that's a very important element, because I feel like cybersecurity has different elements and areas for each one. So there's an individual person, then there's, there's a corporation level, so I think is much higher. There are so many more layers to it. There's child safety, there's multiple complex layers as individuals before we are, looking at the employer and other side of things. So once again, I'd like to extend my gratitude to each one of the panelists for their valuable contributions. And I hope that our institutions, continue to be beacons of, excellence in cybersecurity education, and shape up, the future where our graduates are not just, pioneers in the field, but also guardians of the nation's cyber resilience. So thank you once again for taking
Thank
out
you
the
very
time.
much. Thank you, Akshat. Thank you for a great session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Inshallah, we hope that this conversation also materializes into something more concrete for the education sector, because we've seen that I think collaboration ki hum bahut zyada baat bhi karte hain, but I've seen that this session has been particularly one of those where you're open to learning from each other, and I think that's really the spirit we all need at any point of our career. So kudos to you, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.